this project has the potential to go on a virtuals-like run if they can nail one thing. In this video, I'm going to be explaining exactly what the project is and why I think they have the potential to perform really, really well over the next few months. If that sounds good to you, please like, please comment, please subscribe, and let's get into the video. Hey guys, I'm Alessandro. Remember, nothing that I say is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Everything that I say is for education and entertainment purposes only, and it is not intended for a UK audience. Okay, cool. So in today's video, we're talking about a project that we actually covered back in December. But back in December, when we covered this project on Rand's show, they haven't released their products yet. So it was all sort of promise. Now, I was still bullish on the project back then, which is why I sort of brought it to the team's attention. But right now, we are on the sort of like edge of them releasing their sort of first consumer application that should be pretty easy to use. And this application should be like value accruing back to the token. So if they can garner some hype around the sort of like the dashboard that they're building, if they can get people to go and use it and create these dashboards, think of it like a Pump Fun, those like virtuals, launchpad, those kinds of things. If those things go and get used, then obviously it's going to create like hype. It's also going to create like a drive, like a sync for the token price, which obviously means that probably we're going to see some like decent price action. Now, I might be completely wrong, and potentially this dashboard isn't used right. If it's not used, then this thesis is just like thrown out the window. I think there's a very, very good chance that these dashboards that people create are going to be used. Now, let me just go back a little step. The project's called OpenServ, right? What is OpenServ? OpenServ is a infrastructure layer that sits sort of underneath the basic tooling that agents can use to like communicate with one another. So it's a little bit like layer 0, right? Layer 0 sits as this interoperable layer that allows different blockchains to communicate with one another. What OpenServ allows is a similar sort of thing, but for agents. So it sits underneath any framework, any chain, any sort of like agent, doesn't matter. OpenServ can sit underneath, and you can have multiple agents that all speak to each other to carry out some kind of task, whether that's on-chain, off-chain, inside your Gmail, writing sheets for you. Let's say you just got a $1,000 pay rise. Now you want to budget a bit better. You can just go like, hey, do this thing, make my budgets a bit better, whatever, right? It can integrate into multiple different agents doing multiple different things. They're like the base layer. So let me just screech my screen. This is their website, and multi-agent infrastructure for orchestrating any agent from any framework on any chain. Yes, we know that. Cool. The reason I really like the team fundamentally is like it's got a team with a bunch of experience, right? A team with a bunch of experience from range of different areas, whether it's Web3, AI, like tech, entrepreneurs, finance, and sort of marketing, and 20 plus years of experience in these areas. So like these guys are like really trying to build a legitimate project here, a legitimate product. The company is like fully incubated in the UK. It's like, you can go and check them out on Company's House. All these people are like findable. So it's not like, they've got like credibility to their name, right? These guys have got their names behind it. They're like actually trying to create this unique product, and they've put their name behind it, which personally, I always like to see that. So bullish on the team generally. I have spoken to the team, and if they can carry out their vision, then this project is very, very likely going to fly, right? Now, another reason why I like this project, fundamentally, is because the tokenomics are really, really good. Real brief overview. Tokenomics are always really important, right? If the tokenomics aren't right, it doesn't matter how good the project is, it's not going to do as well as it could. These guys were like completely fair launch. They raised 3 rounds. They raised 1 pre-seed round. You can see that here, that's 1% of the supply. 1 seed round, 15% of the supply, and then they did 1 sort of like public round, 25% of the supply. All of those tokens were fully unlocked at TGE. Bang, bang, bang. The rest of their token supply, 25% was put into a liquidity pool on Uniswap. And so you just know that the price of the token is the true price of the token. You haven't got any market makers sort of doing any shady shit to try and alter the token price. The token price that it is the genuine token price. There's no supply side overhang. You're not going to get dumped on by any unlocks that are coming soon. Also decent. Now, the product that they built initially was this builder's playground, right? And if we go back here quickly to the chart, when they launched this builder's playground, price action was down here. Yes, the whole market switched at the same time, so there's like a massive confounding variable there. But they launched this builder's playground, and since they've launched this builder's playground, price action's been up only. But the thing about this builder's playground, I'm just going to show you what it is now. It's not really very useful for the average person, right? You need to have like a specific kind of goal, I guess, like create a nutrition and running plan. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Not really that special, right? It's like you can get this on ChatGPT, no problem. So what it does give you though is the ability to integrate all these agents together. Now that's all well and good. Yeah, go and start that project. Let me just show you what agents you can have on the platform. You might have like a general assistant, a coder, a DALL-E illustrator, podcast creator, mid-journey, image generator. You can get agents that integrate to Gmail, to Slack, all this other stuff, right? All useful stuff, but fundamentally not something that I think really is gonna like make degens pick up and run away with it. But I think the one they are on the edge of releasing their sort of like client or consumer like degen facing app right now. So we just sort of built that, whatever it was, back here. Look, 3-day one, it needs some action. So we just got to review the plan. Go ahead, do it. No worries. I don't think this is the thing that's going to be like super amazing on the platform. I do think fundamentally this is like the second layer, right? People have gone away and they've used OpenServ's SDK. SDK means software development kit. It means like developers can have a framework to go and build stuff on someone's thing. And these guys built like a infrastructure layer. And so people went away and they built all these agents. All these agents that are listed here are agents that essentially developers have built on their platform, right? Which is kind of cool. But I think it's the next integration, these alpha hubs on Dash.Fun, which are really going to be the thing that can like take this project, take Serv and push it forward, right? If these dashboards are not used by, like they're not pushed, people don't find them exciting, people don't go and create their own dashboards, the project is not going to be massively successful, in my opinion. If, however, they can garner a decent chunk of like hype and excitement around these dashboards, then actually I think there's a very good chance that Serv can go on like a virtuals-esque run, right? Because we haven't really seen this. What we've seen so far with agents is we've seen individual agents go on runs for different kinds of things. Like AIXBT went on a run because it can synthesize data and post it to Twitter. Luna went on a run because she could sort of like talk, right? And then that obviously caused Virtuals, the underlying token, to fly because people were using Virtual to go and launch their own agents. The hype was around Virtuals, blah, blah, blah. Virtuals did very, very well. I think that what these dashboards are, let me explain what these dashboards are quickly. What these dashboards are creators can go in and they can create these alpha hubs, right? Let me switch the sound off, this is a bit annoying. And what you can do in these alpha hubs is create a dashboard for something that you want to create a dashboard for, right? So whale movements dashboard you can see in the bottom left, a degen dashboard here, right? But to create a dashboard costs tokens, and to use someone else's dashboard, depending on what kind of dashboard it is, there's like 3 levels of dashboards. There's like basic ones that are free. There's sort of like, you know, slightly better ones that are paid, and there's pro level versions that are like created by certain people that are like heavily paid. And the way that these dashboards are paid for is in Serve, right? So you could imagine if someone builds like a dashboard that is able to scrape, for example, right, if we think about ICM, the Internet Capital Market sort of meta recently, if someone builds a dashboard that can scrape Telegram, scrape Twitter, use that information to go away and find the most spoken about, or the like an ICM token that looks like it's going to be like going to blowing up next, then have access to your wallet as well, so that then you can go and actually buy that token. If it makes people money, suddenly everyone's going to go and use the dashboard. That's going to create a decent sync for the actual Serve token itself, because people are going to go and use that particular dashboard to try and generate the yield that it's generating, and try and capitalize on that movement, right? So how this works is influencers, analysts, whatever, create custom modules within their unique DeFi AI processes, sources, and branding. Token gated access works like a membership club, restricts alpha to core followers only. The entire experience is controlled by the Dash creator. Now you might say, oh, what's the difference between this and something like Hey Anon? Be a perfect question. So I actually think in terms of the DeFi, the DeFi, DFAI, whatever you want to say, those sort of like dashboards are not going to be the ones that do the best, because probably Anon is better, right? That's all it's focusing on. But I think there's going to be some dashboard that's made, and I don't know what it's going to be, otherwise I'd make it myself, that's going to like blow up. It only needs one or two of these like unique ways of creating this dashboard, because basically these dashboards are just like, they can be, data synthesizers. So for example, we've got 𝗏𝗏.eth here. 𝗏𝗏 has made a dashboard. If you don't know who 𝗏𝗏 is like a collator of AI crypto sort of like alpha from the day. He puts it all into like a thread, and then tells, basically if you read his threads, then you're pretty up to date with what's going on in sort of like crypto and AI for the day. It takes him a very, very long time. So he's building this dashboard that allows for him to not do all of that synthesis by himself, right? His dashboard should have some value. Now, personally, I'd probably pay for a synthesized version of 𝗏𝗏's dashboard, pay for the access to his terminal, because I think his information is very, very good. Now, you have to consider that if he's suddenly able to like distribute this information in a way that is token gated, now, well, the token basically creates a sync for Serve. And so if you think you've got loads of these influencers, if each one of these influencers can create something that their audience or their following likes or wants extra access to via this dashboard, you've suddenly got like a really big like sync for the Serve token price, right? A really big sync for Serve to be like bought off the market to be sent into this thing. And the tokenomics of Serve are such that they have like a 25% buy and burn mechanism, so that for all revenue, 25% of the revenue is used to go and then burn the token. Also, obviously these creators are highly incentivized to actually create these dashboards, because there's a revenue split there. The revenue goes like 50% to the creator, and then the rest is to the OpenServ team, and then the rest is, or 25% to the team, and then 25% is actually burnt. So it's a really high incentive for KOLs or influencers to go and create these dashboards, because they're going to get paid for it basically, right? So if you see what Sammy's saying, he's building one that has like on-chain flow signals, real-time social and settlement layers, an AI macro newsfeed, capital raise, deal flow tracker, all that sort of stuff, right? So kind of pretty cool, really. And if we just look at their roadmap, right, these guys are still in the sort of, they're right here, open beta's playground. This is where they are right now. They've just sort of launched that. They're in the process of doing their initial sort of like Dash.Fun. Remember, the open beta playground was very dev focused. If you're not a dev, you can't really build an agent without a lot of like back and forth between Cursor and ChatGPT and their docs, right? But now Dash.Fun is like a drag and drop. Super simple way to create your own interactions of these agents. Now, whether you create a great one or you just, have someone else create a great one doesn't really matter. Obviously, if you create a good one yourself, then you get some revenue generation there. But fundamentally, like, Serv is this token that sits underneath all of this. And if this dashboard ends up being something that people go and use, the sync on the Serv token is going to be quite high. Now, I think there's a very, very strong chance that this particular project is successful. When I say strong chance, I mean on a risk-adjusted level, I think the play is worth it. Now, risk-adjusted is very, very important to understand, right? Let's say these guys have a 5% chance of making it. This dashboard has like a 5% chance of being used in the way Virtuals was used. That means it needs to return 20x for it to be worth it, right? Because if it's got a 5% chance, if it doesn't return 20x, fundamentally, you take that bet a lot of times, you're going to end up losing money. If I was to put a number on it, I probably think that this has like a 10 to 20% chance of success. But if it is successful, it probably runs to, 500 to $1 billion in market cap, maybe even more. If it does, so if it's successful, I think probably it runs to those kind of numbers. Now, it doesn't mean to say that I think it's more likely than not that it's going to be successful, but I do think that this project, if it is successful, runs to those kind of numbers. Yes, of course, I hold this token. I've been holding this token ever since I brought it up on the channel on Rand's show back here, right? I've been holding it since sort of this area down here, since obviously we mentioned it here, and yeah, I will probably keep holding this token. My targets, as I said, are sort of like 500 mil. If, however, the Dash.Fun 500 mil to $1 billion in market cap, if, however, the Dash.Fun dashboard isn't really used, I don't think the token price has much will succeed in that sort of way. However, if it is used and it's being launched in a few weeks, then risk reward here for me is like perfect, right? In before everyone gets super excited, and you've got like a decent sort of like all the things are sort of in its favor. Strong team, tokenomics are really, really good. All the tokens are basically in circulation, apart from the ones in the Treasury wallet. So no VC overhangs. They've been building for a long time, since 2023. They didn't really jump on the initial hype. They didn't really let themselves get carried away with their initial token price when it went up a lot. When it crashed back down, they were constantly building, shipping updates on their Twitter, in their community, in their sort of like Telegram, just constantly updating, doing exactly what they said they were going to do. They're carrying out their roadmap right now, halfway along their roadmap, right, with a bunch more stuff to come. So yeah, I really think these guys have a strong chance of doing what they said they're going to do. Most of the time, I mean, that's really hard, right? Doing what you say you're going to do is a hard thing. But I think these guys have been building something that has an actual chance of being integrated in a lot of different ways, which is why I'm super bullish on it. Anyway, I hope that if you enjoy this video, please like, please subscribe. I should have said that at the start. Get hit in the face for not doing that. But otherwise, yeah, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have an excellent day, and I shall see you in the next one.